Buongiorno a tutti e benvenuti. Welcome to the special coffee break catch up from here in Milan, Italy, and I'm delighted to be joined by Francesca today.
Ciao a tutti!
We are here for the Coffee Break Catch-Up, our weekly catch-up of all things coffee break and all things language learning. Now, this week, as you can see, we've got our Coffee Break Italian t-shirts on, so we are focusing on Coffee Break Italian here in Milan. But in our catch-up, we'll be bringing you the latest news and the latest information, and including some cultural information also about what's happening this weekend to give you some ideas about what you could get up to this weekend if you're able to travel to a place where the language that you are learning is spoken. Now, hopefully, you can hear me okay. We're in a different situation today. Obviously, we've found a good internet connection and we're pleased to be here. Let's just say hello to some people. We've got Diane. So where's Diane joining us from? From Toronto in Canada. Buongiorno, Diane. We've got Ham, who's saying siete fortunati.
È vero.
È vero. We've got Mick Adams saying ciao. And Mick is in Atlanta, and we've got Carol joining us from Canada. È una bella giornata qui, è una bella giornata qui
anche a Milano.
Fa molto caldo, è perfetto. We've got Karim saying, Karim from Kurdistan in Northern Iraq. Fantastic, great to have you. So let us know where you are watching the Coffee Break Catch Up from, and we will be delighted to say hello to you. But for now, what we are going to do is move on as usual, just to check through what's happening. We are going to start with our coffee break updates, then we'll explain a little more about what we're doing here in Italy, and then we'll have our weekly cultural roundup of everything that is happening. So that is all coming up very soon. Once again, let us know if you're watching from a particular country or if you are learning a particular language. But let's get on with our cultural information. No, not our cultural information, our coffee break catch up right now. So let's come back here. First of all, we had our 8th episode of Coffee Break Spanish, of En Marcha con Coffee Break Spanish, going out last week. And this was a really interesting episode because it was all about cultural transformation of the city of Malaga. And we were looking at art and the arts in general and music and so on in Malaga. And we also had a very interesting discussion, or my colleague Flora had a very interesting discussion with a man from the Pompidou Centre. That's actually what you're seeing in that photo, the Centro Pompidou in Malaga. So that is episode 8 of En Marcha that was out last week. We also launched our 2nd episode this week of the Coffee Break French magazine podcast. And the topic this week was about Saint-Exupéry, a French author who was also an aviator. And his love of all things aviation came into his writing. And he wrote, for example, Le Petit Prince and a beautiful poem called Le Vol de Nuit, or Vol de Nuit rather. So Saint-Exupéry is featured in our Coffee Break magazine, our French magazine this week. And we are back with another Coffee Break Italian magazine next week. What's the topic?
The topic is...
I valser.
La
comunità valser, which is an interesting cultural group within Italy,
sì.
in your part of the world.
Very close to where I'm from. Yeah.
So you can find out that next week. That's next Monday, episode 3 of the Coffee Break Italian magazine.
Hello, the winners of this month.
I pressed the wrong button there, I do apologise, sorry. So we are, that's episode 2 of the Coffee Break French podcast coming up, actually already available. It went out on Monday. Now, something else that we are talking about, something else that we've been doing recently, is publishing our 1-minute language series on YouTube. So we're making available all of the 1-minute languages courses on YouTube. And this week it's the turn of a very interesting language, and that is, if I can press the right button here, that is Ukrainian. We've actually just launched 1-minute Ukrainian on YouTube. So if you fancy learning some Ukrainian, then you can head over to YouTube now and get the whole series of all 10 lessons of 1-minute Ukrainian. And we were having a little chat last night on the plane about Ukrainian because
I lived in Kiev for a year, so I want to say hi to all my friends in Kiev and Ukraine. It was like an amazing year of my life, so yeah.
So I think Francesca's going to be doing some 1-minute Ukrainian to pick up on some of your
with a lot of nostalgia.
So that's 1 Minute Ukrainian now available on our YouTube channel. So the next thing that we want to talk about is lesson 9 of Coffee Break Spanish to Go, and the topic of that is ¿Qué haces en tu tiempo libre? We are publishing lesson 9. I think that goes out tomorrow on our YouTube channel. And Coffee Break Spanish to Go is a series where we are in the streets of Spain talking to native speakers and asking them about what they enjoy doing. For example, the topic of this question, of this episode, as I said, is ¿Qué haces en tu tiempo libre? What do you do in your free time? So Coffee Break Spanish to Go is ongoing publishing on YouTube, and also Coffee Break German to Go is ongoing at the moment. So lesson 5 goes out, I think, at the beginning of next week for Coffee Break German to Go. Which brings us to the question of what we are doing here in Italy. Well, what we are doing here in Italy is preparing Coffee Break Italian to Go. And that means that later this year, you're going to be able to enjoy some real authentic interviews on the streets for Series 1 of Milan. And that's exactly what we've been filming today.
Sí.
Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about that?
Sí, we have been interviewing people from all over Italy, so not just people from Milan, but from all over Italy, because Milan is such a multicultural city. And we have really enjoyed talking to people of different ages, different backgrounds, with different interests, different regional Italian accents as well.
Some people from Tuscany. One guy from Tuscany who had a brilliant accent, and he said that abito sulla costa, la costa, in a wonderful Tuscan accent. So it's Francesca and me, and we've also got Monica who is joining us too. Here's Monica. Monica is our production assistant, and we're really glad that Monica is able to be here to help out and she's been very busy today all through the time that we've been recording things. But this is something that you can enjoy later in the year. We'll be publishing Coffee Break Italian to Go on our YouTube channel later in the year, and you can look forward to that. Okay, so that's what we're doing here in Italy. I can see that we've got lots of questions coming in, and we're really happy to get your questions and and answer them, which we'll do in just a moment. But for now, what we're going to do is move straight on to our cultural tips for this week, and share some of these with you now. So it's time for this week's cultural tips. Let me just move to that place in our graphics here. There we go. So this is the cultural roundup for the 30th of May through to the 5th of June. And we're starting where we are in Italy. So Francesca, it seems only right that you tell us a little bit about what La Festa della Repubblica is.
Sì, on the 2nd of June, we always celebrate the Republic, the Italian Republic, because it's on the 2nd of June, well, many years ago, 1946, that Italy became a republic for the first time. Before that, Italy was a monarchy, but then, as you all know, the Second World War happened, and all the things that we know. And after that, the Italians, and for the first time women as well, were asked to decide whether they wanted Italy to keep being a republic or a monarchy or becoming a republic. And they decided for the republic. So we still celebrate that moment of Italian history.
So that is the 2nd of June, which is Sunday.
Yes.
Correct. So on Sunday, we will be in Stresa, or Lake Maggiore, on Sunday, and we are looking forward to perhaps experiencing some of that on a Sunday.
Celebrations.
We'll see what happens. So that is our Italian tip for this week. No matter where you are in Italy, there will be some kind of celebration happening this week if you're able to enjoy that. Let's move on and look at our other cultural tips for this week. Now, the Corsica Raid Adventure. When I saw this, I thought this sounds like an interesting occasion, an interesting event. It's a 5-day event that's dedicated to open air sport in Corsica. So, in fact, we shouldn't perhaps have a French flag there. We could have a Corsican flag up there, La Corse. So it's a competition for sports enthusiasts which involve 10 different sports, including canyoning, mountain biking, kayaking, swimming in the sea, all sorts of things. And this is happening between the 1st and the 6th of June. So if you happen to be in Corsica this week, I'm sure that you will enjoy either taking part in or enjoying watching some of the Corsica Raid Adventure. Let's move on and look at our Spanish tip for the week. Now, this is a Spanish tip, but it's not in Spain this week. We are going to Mexico. Well, we are not personally going to Mexico this week, perhaps another week, but we're going to Mexico for the Feria Nacional del Queso y del Vino, the National Festival of Cheese and Wine from the 31st of May until the 16th of June, which I think sounds like the perfect reason to go to Mexico. So the Feria Nacional del Queso y del Vino. This is a national cheese and wine fair in Tequisquiapan. I am sorry if I did not pronounce that correctly. It's a town in central Mexico known for its mineral spas and its well-preserved Spanish colonial buildings. And the festival features winemakers and sommeliers, cheese producers and renowned chefs who will share their knowledge of food and wine. So if you happen to be able to get to Tequisquiapan this weekend, then you can enjoy the Feria Nacional del Queso y del Vino. So that's our tip for Spanish learners this weekend. Let us move on and finally look at our tip for German learners. And that's an interesting one. It's a musical one. It's the Handel Festival in Halle. Now, the Handel Festival is a celebration of course, Georg Friedrich Handel, the German composer, and they host the annual festival there in May, the end of May, 31st of May, until the 16th of June. So there are celebrated Baroque musicians who perform at this festival, and I think the ending of the festival sounds fantastic because it traditionally closes with a performance of Handel's music for the Royal Fireworks at the Galgenberg Gorge, which is accompanied by a fantastic fireworks display. So if you're into classical to Baroque music, then perhaps you would be interested in trying to attend the Handel Festival in Halle. And those are our cultural tips for the week. Now, information about all of these events can be found in our newsletter, and that newsletter goes out tomorrow, so it will be heading out to you tomorrow morning UK time. So you should be waking up to that at some point tomorrow if you're in the US, and of course it will reach you some point during the day if you're in Australia or wherever else you are. But that's the newsletter, and if you're not yet subscribed to the newsletter, then you can do so at radiolingua.com/newsletter. And perhaps the team could put that in the comments, radiolingua.com/newsletter. And if you're not yet subscribed to the newsletter, you can put in your details there and you will receive tomorrow's edition of the newsletter. And we send out the links in the newsletter for all of the episodes we've talked about, all of the information that we've shared, and also for all of these cultural events, we send out information in the language and also in English. So if you're interested in finding out more about the Handel Festival but don't speak German, there will be information in English in tomorrow's newsletter. So make sure you subscribe to the newsletter if you'd like to get access to these links. Okay. Now, there is one other very important thing that we need to do, and another equally important thing that we also need to share with you. The very important thing is to tell you about our magazines. You know that we're running our Coffee Break French magazine and our Coffee Break Italian magazine, and one part of this is questions, where we get questions from you, the listeners, and we answer those questions in the podcast. But we'd like your questions, not just for French and Italian, but also for Spanish and German, because later in the year, we'll be producing our Coffee Break Spanish magazine podcast and our Coffee Break German magazine podcast. And these will be available to download later in the year, after the summer, for both German and Spanish. But we need your questions. We need you to send us your voicemail questions. So if you've got a question about an aspect of grammar, what else do we use our questions for?
Language learning tips.
Yeah, of course. So language learning tips, or an aspect of grammar, or something that you are...
Idiomatic expressions.
These kind of things. What we're not so keen on, if you like, is how do you say this in Italian, or how do you say this in French, or whatever, because it's good to be able to get something that we can discuss and share ideas with. So that could either be sharing some examples about a grammar point. This week's French topic was the difference between the perfect tense and the imperfect tense, and how you use them both in one sentence. And then in the previous Italian topics,
we had the use of prego, for example,
yes.
Memorizing new vocab, the difference between stare and essere.
Very interesting one. So these are questions that listeners have sent us already, and if you would like to send us your question, then you can do it in one of two ways, and both are very straightforward. First of all, you can go to coffeebreakquestions.com, and there you'll be able to record your voicemail and send it to us just by using the tools on that website. Alternatively, if you find it easier, you can record a voicemail on your phone and then email it to radiolingua@gmail.com. And that is a special email address we've set up so that we can receive large attachments. So don't worry about the size of your email, the size of your voice message. That will reach us at radiolingua@gmail.com, and we'll be able to answer your question in one of the future episodes of the podcast. So we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to get your questions. Please send us your questions. Now, we know that there are some questions today, just perhaps from the comments in the Facebook Live, and we're going to get to them in just a moment. However, before we do, we've got something very important to announce. It's the end of May, and as you know, every month we are doing a giveaway, if you like, a giveaway of our mugs, our coffee break mugs, which are exclusive. You can't buy these in the shops. These are special mugs. And I am delighted to be able to hand over to my colleagues, Flora and Susie, if I can press the right button here this time, who are back in Scotland, and they are going to be announcing the winners of the mugs for May. And I'll be telling you how you can take part just after this. So over to Susie and to Flora.
Hello, the winners of this month's Coffee Break mug giveaway are Jason from England, who sent us this postcard from Italy, and Barbara from Idaho.
And you'll both be getting one of these lovely Coffee Break Italian mugs.
Well done.
So congratulations to Jason and to Barbara. And I actually think from the comments, I saw Barbara posting a message. We'll come to that. So Barbara, if you're watching, congratulations. You'll be able to enjoy your tea or your coffee in your Coffee Break mug very soon. So 2 Italian winners by complete coincidence that we are
Bravissimi.
in Italy this week. But if you would like to win potentially a Coffee Break mug, then all you need to do is send a postcard and tell us about your language learning story or your language learning journey, if you like, to 100 West George Street, Glasgow, G2 1PP, and that's in the United Kingdom. And we will add your postcard to the draw, and at the end of June we will of course be announcing 2 new winners of a Coffee Break mug, and we have mugs for all of the languages, so let us know which language you're studying. Okay, it's time to come to your questions and your comments. Let me come out of here. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the right one. Let us go back and see who is joining us today. We started, so we got as far as Tara, I think. So Tara is joining us from Denver, Colorado. Hi Tara, lovely to see you here. We've got Karim, just say ciao. We've got Efrat, who is saying hello from Israel. Fantastic, Efrat. Gina is a Coffee Break Italian listener. She's saying hello, and she's in Blairgowrie in Scotland. I hope the weather's nice in Blairgowrie. Tara actually has gone on to say something else here. Tara is saying, I'm in season 3 of Coffee Break Spanish. I learned yesterday that listening to it while swimming is not quite as effective, since I can't listen, repeat, and count laps at the same time. That is multitasking to a way too far extent, Tara. And also, we wouldn't suggest that you repeat just in case you open your mouth in the water, and that wouldn't go well. But great to hear that you're learning Coffee Break Spanish while you're swimming. We have got Barbara, who is in Idaho. And Barbara, congratulations on winning your mug. Thank you for your postcard. And Barbara's saying, il mio WeJotter. And the WeJotter thing is...
Sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar.
I love a WeJotter.
Do you want to explain?
It was in one of the Coffee Break magazines when we were discussing language learning techniques, and I said that I always have my WeJotter with me, where I write down new English words I learned. So everyone should have a WeJotter in their bags.
And just to explain, if you're not familiar with the word jotter, I think it's a Scottish word that we use for a notebook. So you can have a WeJotter, and Barbara's got hers, and you can draw a picture of your mug, your new mug, and your WeJotter, Barbara. Megan is watching from here in Milano.
Wow.
Megan, come and say hello. After this, where are we going? We're going to the Castello Francesco.
Sì, vieni, ti aspettiamo.
If you want to come and be interviewed, come to the Castello Francesco about half an hour or so from now. Ham is saying non vedo l'ora per the new Coffee Break Italian to go.
Grazie.
Grazie. And then we've got Pam saying bonjour, buongiorno, studying French and Italian with Coffee Break Languages. I love the format. Want to start German next? Well,
Wow.
Pam, you know where Coffee Break German is when the time comes. We've got Heidi joining us from Washington. Hi, Heidi. Carol saying perfetto. We think that's Coffee Break Italian to go comments there. Heidi giving us some more information. Mi piacciono molto le tue t-shirts. Where can I buy one? Well, you can possibly buy one quite soon. We'll see about putting some merchandise on the website.
Sono carine.
They're on the back as well. You can see us in the back. The back so that when you're walking about, people can see and they think, oh, what's Coffee Break Italian? Let's go and find out. And Francesca's really funny because when she's going up to people in the street to try to get them to stop and talk, and sometimes they're not willing to stop and talk, and she follows them and keeps talking and saying, it's for a language school we're doing. And then if they say they don't speak English, they don't speak Italian, what she does is bring out the card and say, well, you can learn with Coffee Break Italian. So, ecco. So, thank you, Heidi. Ham is asking, can you talk through your French course for primary schools? Ham, that is a great question. It's called High Five French. We're not going to talk through it in detail here, but if you want to find out more about the course, then you can go to highfivefrench.com and click on the option for teachers. If you're involved in education, then you can click on the option for teachers. If you're a parent and you are wanting your children to learn French, or a grandparent, then you can click on parents there. So if you just go to highfivelanguages.com, that will take you to the correct page. Oh, and I see that the team have already, they're clapping us here. The team has already answered that question, so thank you to the team back in Glasgow. Jace is saying, I love Coffee Break German, vielen Dank.
Yeah.
We've got Gail, buongiorno da New Hampshire, a beautiful part of the world. And Barbara is thanking us for the mug. Thank you, Barbara. Oh, Gina.
Gina, no.
Che
sorpresa. Sorry.
Those are the comments for today. Now, as I said earlier, all of the links that we've mentioned earlier, they will be available in the newsletter, which will go out tomorrow. And as I say, if you're not yet subscribed to the newsletter, then you can do so at radiolingua.com/newsletters. This will, of course, be available on our website and on YouTube afterwards. But I think that's it for today.
That's it, yeah.
È tutto.
È tutto, sì.
We've still got more interviews to do.
And an ice cream.
And an ice cream. I think you deserve an ice cream by this stage.
Gelato.
And maybe even an Aperol Spritz
Why
later.
not?
Yeah. So we will head back out. We're going to do some more interviews first, and then we've got a few other things, some secret projects that we're not allowed to talk about yet, to do tomorrow and the next day. But stay in touch with us on Instagram. We're keeping the story updated today on Instagram as we enjoy filming in the sunshine here in Milan. And as I say, if you happen to be in Milan, then come along and see us. We'll be around the Castello Francesca and the park behind it a bit later on.
Sì, vi aspettiamo.
Vi aspettiamo. Grazie mille a te.
A te, Mark.
Grazie,
Bravissimo.
Monica. And we will be back with another Coffee Break catch-up from Scotland next week.
Sì.
Grazie a tutti.
Ciao.
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 Ciao.